So, in my ongoing quest to become more fancy and worldly and experienced and cultured and all those other adjectives, I've been trying to watch more foreign art house films, and this one was recently brought to my attention. Tetsuo the Iron Man. People said this one was definitely worth looking at if you're going down that path. I was told it's unlike anything else that's ever been made. People said you'll never ever see another movie like this. And I guess in retrospect that was less of a recommendation and more of a warning. Gosh, where do we even start with this? First off, it's actually kind of difficult just to find this movie in the first place. And I think they did that intentionally, to be honest. I mean, somebody uploaded the whole thing to YouTube for free, but as far as official releases go, you can't even buy this as a standalone movie. The only option is to get it as part of a box set, which is what I did. And like I said, I think they tried to make it hard to find on purpose. Underground is definitely the type of word I would use to describe this movie. Just due to how graphic it is, I don't think, retailers really want this sitting on their shelves where somebody could accidentally stumble onto it. It's the type of movie you're really only going to find by making a deliberate effort to find it. They're not just going to show this on cable TV, you see. Now you may be thinking, Jesus Christ, is it that bad? What's this movie even about? And that's kind of a tricky question to answer, to be honest. Well, because there's very little spoken dialogue in the movie. There's probably less than 20 lines that are spoken in total. Everything's very visual, and as a result, it's kind of hard to parse out the plot most of the time. The Wikipedia article for the movie even makes a point of mentioning that it's unclear what's going on in the movie. But the best summary I can come up with would be about this. So we see a lunatic cutting a giant gash wound into his leg with a knife. And then he takes a metal rod and he shoves it down the wound. Why he does this isn't explained, of course. And he immediately regrets this decision and he starts freaking out and he runs out into traffic. And this is how we're introduced to our main character, because the main character is the driver of the car that then hits him. So this sequence sets up the main conflict for the rest of the movie, because the driver of the car, he becomes afflicted with a curse when he hits that man, and it causes his body to slowly get replaced with various metal odds and ends, and he just becomes more and more hideous as time goes on. 大概のことには驚かないってば。私を一人にしないでよ。A lot of the directing techniques in this movie really feel reminiscent of something you'd see in a music video from this era, because this movie came out in 1989, so that would have been right about the time when grunge and metal and punk and all those other things were starting to come together. And it really feels like a product of that era. There's lots of shots of drab, industrial, urban landscapes. In some ways, it kind of reminds me of that Aphex Twin music video where the demon screams in the old lady's face. Remember that? Anyway, and there's also this reoccurring shot throughout the movie where the camera will run down a city street really fast, and that shot in particular feels very music video-esque, I would say. You might have noticed how the motion looks a little choppy on that shot, which brings me to my next point. The director of this movie just absolutely adores stop motion, Pretty much every special effect in the film was done using stop motion, meaning that pretty much everything that happens was done by hand, no computer animation to speak of. Every last gory, nasty detail was done by hand, even when the main character's penis turns into a drill. Yeah, the clip I just showed you really captures the essence of what the movie is about. Just this nasty cross section of just gore and violence, and when it's not gore and violence, it's sexual stuff. And believe me, there's a lot of sex scenes in the movie as well. In a way, this movie feels like if you were to like ask your 90-year-old grandma what she thinks young people watch at the movies. It's just like this fucking like sped up like merry-go-round of just violence and sex and violence in movies and sex on TV. So I think the question we need to be asking amidst all of this is, what exactly was the director trying to say with all of this? What's the message of this film exactly? The leading theory is that the movie is supposed to be a statement on the dangers of industrialization and modernization, and how all of the metal and waste that we produce as a society will slowly consume us, you see, just as it did to the main character. And I can certainly see that angle. By the end of the film, the main character, his transformation is complete, to the point where he no longer resembles a human being. He's basically just metal, and he swears to make the rest of the world just like him. You could certainly interpret this as some kind of statement, as how our unhealthy modern lifestyle will eventually reach and corrupt every corner of the earth in the name of progress, and as every country becomes more modern and, industrialized, and with all that, eventually will damage the environment to the point where we no longer resemble human beings, just like the man in the movie. Or as this particular Letterboxd review said, I think this guy puts it well, we all live in trash. It's just part of being alive in this world. There's just too much trash to avoid it. It will touch you and it will eventually claim you. You can go live in the woods and write a manifesto or make a perfectly composed film about clean interiors, but that Pacific garbage patch is still out there and it's growing. Watch enough TV or just breathe enough air and it gets in you, until one day you're on the operating table and they're pulling tin cans and plastic straws and take-out bags out of you. So overall, would I recommend this movie? I mean, it's certainly interesting, it's certainly unique, but at the same time I can't really, picture myself going around and telling people that they should see it. This is the type of thing that's really only meant for people who really want to get something unique and memorable out of their movie-going experience, and perhaps not even unique and memorable in a good way. So I don't know if I would recommend this, but I guess overall I'd give it about 3.5 stars, let's say.